Okay.
Ms. Beck, are we allowed to start yet?
Well, is anybody at the door? Sure, go ahead.
We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the 1st of March, 2021. This is the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair, also representing District 2. Joining me today is Commissioner Bill Rippon, representing District 1. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioner Aaron Mays, representing District 3. Good morning.
Good morning.
I understand we have a presentation first, Madam Clerk.
Yes, under proclamations, presentations, the 2021 mailing of real estate valuation notice overview. Steve Bauman, Appraiser's Office.
Morning. Steve Bauman, Shawnee County Appraiser, and we are mailing out our 2021 change of value notices today. So I thought I'd give you a brief presentation overview of the data and the processes that we go through. So our office is responsible for appraising over 76,000 parcels of real estate annually as of January 1st each year. So the appraised value that we're looking for is what your home or property should be able to sell for in an open market. It's not really tied to taxes. We're not looking to increase the value to collect more taxes. We're just trying to reflect the market activity that's there. So we are mailing notices today, and those notices are going to be mailed to the properties that have had a change in assessed value or classification. I did check, and we're all going to be getting a notice. And then March 31st is the last day for people to file an appeal at this level. There's additional opportunities if this level is missed. So I'm going to go through some of the market indicators, and this chart shows you a 30-year mortgage rate is at historic lows. And then this chart from the Sunflower Association of Realtors is showing the supply of available homes are also at historic lows. And according to the Sunflower Association of Realtors, homes are selling at 100% of their market asking price and within 5 days. So if you're interested in buying a house, you have to be ready to move on it, and in most cases you're paying asking price or above. So other good indications that we have a strong real estate market. So even with the tight supply that we saw on the last slide, our total sales are increasing significantly over the prior years. This chart is showing all of the sales, not just residential property. Median residential sale price increased over 5% from the prior year. Another indication of a strong market. And then this map gives a visual representation of what the typical residential trends are throughout the county. You can see most of the counties at 5% increase. Again, these are typical trends. Not every property in these shaded areas are going to have that exact percent of increase, but the likelihood is there that that's what would show. Some of the inner cities, 3%, north inner cities 2%, but overall we're looking at a pretty strong 5% increase. There is a small section of red there, 7%, and that's some condo and townhome properties. New home permits have finally started increasing, so this is a good indication, and perhaps will help with some of the supply problems that we're having if construction continues to increase. Commercial new construction permits are down a little bit this year, but still a pretty strong indicator given all of everything that's transpired this year. I mean, it's been kind of an odd, rough year. One of the oddest I could ever recall. So it was difficult to wrap our minds around what was going on and try and illustrate that. We had about 96.4 million in residential new construction and renovation, just over 78 million in commercial. These are both strong increases over the prior years. Although some of this commercial new construction is predetermined to be exempt for a 10-year period, and so it won't make it to the tax roll. Things like our Walmart distribution center, while it wasn't complete, had some walls up, so that as of January 1st, we're adding some new construction. But again, that number is probably going to be coming off down a little bit from that. And then this is a look at our total appraised value over the last 4 years, about a 4.59% change. It includes all classes of property. Feel free to ask questions as we go through this, if you have any. So out of that 13.7 billion total appraised value, this is the breakdown of the classes that we have. 65% of the 13.7 billion is residential classification, 14 commercial, and almost 16 exempt. Okay, overall value indications. Our commercial market values increase overall by about 2.7%. This number does include new construction. So that 78 million of new construction is included in this 2.7% increase. The commercial market overall was pretty flat to slightly decreasing. Some market segments were hit harder by the pandemic and other odd things that happened this last year than others. Things like hotel, motel, and the entertainment arenas were particularly hit hard. While the residential market flourished, 5.7% increase. You know, this was kind of a shocker to me when the COVID first hit. We were looking at the sales coming in, and it stalled for several weeks there in April, and it picked right back up and really started moving. So we were paying attention to that all year, and the residential market just continued to get stronger. Today, we're mailing out the notice. We're only mailing out the notices to those owners that have a changing assessed value or classification. This process has saved significant dollars over the years, probably well over $500,000 tax dollars since we've started this process. So we're going to be sending out about 64,000 notices this year. about 81% of those properties are going to see an increase in value. So again, most of our property sits in the residential side, so that's what it's going to reflect. So since we're only sending out notices to those people that have seen a change in value, we'd like to let people know that there are options out there. If you didn't get a notice and want one, there's a lot of ways that we can make that happen. They will be available on our website, and I think we're going to update that around noon today. So all of our information is going to be available out there at noon. You can print out your own valuation notice if you would like. You can call our taxpayer assistance line at 232-4461, and we'll send out a notice. Stop by our office if you'd like to, and we'll print you one. Or we can send it via email if you send us a request to snappraiser@snco.us. Along with that, the last day to file an appeal is March 31st. You don't have to have a valuation notice in order to file the appeal. We try and make it as easy as possible for us to be able to get this value correct. So any way we can make that happen, we do. So you can phone our taxpayer assistance line, 232-4461. You can send us an email requesting an appeal. You can stop by the office, request it. Any way you can get the request to us, we'll try and honor that. But it's up to March 31st. If you miss that deadline, there's still another opportunity to pay your taxes under protest, either in December when the first half is due, or May 10th when the second half is due. One or the other on those. Our appraisers are going to be answering the phones this first week or so to try and help answer questions. We found that a lot of times people will appeal their value just as a fact-finding mission. So if we can get our appraisers on the phone answering those questions, it drops our appeal rates by quite a bit. I think that last year we had about 1% of the properties in the county were appealed. So that's 740 appeals, around that number. So not a lot of people appeal, but there are some, and I would say we're probably answering a lot of those questions that prohibit the need for people to appeal. So, are there any questions now?
Steve, I just want to go through a couple of things, make sure that we highlighted those. We have 76,000 parcels in Shawnee County, correct?
Correct.
This is my quiz, make sure I was paying attention. 86% of the individuals will see some change in their property valuation.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so if I am one of the persons that didn't get a notice, I can still get a notice either by going online or by contacting your office.
Correct. And I did not state out loud our website, but it's www.snco.us/AP.
And if I get a valuation and I think that it is too high, I can file an appeal, but my appeal must be filed by March 31st.
Correct.
And if I get a valuation and I think it's too low, I can still file an appeal to say, I think I want my valuation going up because I've done improvements and I'm getting ready to put my house on the market.
That is correct, and that does happen.
Okay. And if I get no notice, but I've done either something's happened to decrease the value or increase the value, I can still file an appeal even if there's been no change.
That is correct.
Okay. Then the last question I have for you, even though 65% of our market is residential, we still have a significant chunk that is commercial properties. And those commercial properties have high valuations.
Yes.
As we've seen more and more brick and mortar stores getting hit by Amazon, by online trade, is your office constantly going back and reassessing what the value of those brick and mortar buildings may be?
Every year, yeah, we're looking at the data behind that information. And, you know, I mentioned hotel motel and entertainment, but, you know, our mall is going to see a significant hit this year. You know, it was already struggling throughout the last several years, and COVID really, I'm assuming it's COVID, but it took a big hit again this year, so.
Well, I think that we've seen changes to malls, to consumerism, with online sales, and so I think those valuations have to follow suit.
Correct. Yes. I mean, our goal, like I said, is to appraise this property at what it would sell for in an open and competitive market, so.
Okay. And then we've only had a 4.5 increase over 4 years, generally, for valuations. You said increased overall from 2018 to 20.
No.
Your slide, I thought you said had 4.5.
On that quiz
4.59 from last
4.59.
year.
4.59 over the prior year.
Over the prior year.
Yes.
Okay.
So last year was a pretty strong residential market as well. And, you know, we're looking at the value as of January 1st, 2020. So that was pre-pandemic. Our market was fairly strong. The residential was stronger this year. Commercial was stronger in 2019 leading up to that January 1st, 2020 date. So.
Great. Commissioner Mays.
Yeah, Steve, one of the things that we hear is that appraisal values are a kind of a backdoor way of raising taxes. And so could you elaborate on the involvement that the three of us have in the appraisal process?
I sure can. As far as the appraisal process, you three have absolutely nothing to do with it.
Okay, thank you. So just for the record, the three of us have had no conversations with him prior to this about any property values in Shawnee County, and so it's just not a way of us.
And I'll tell you that I appreciate how hands-off you three are, that you're not trying to apply any pressure on us to raise values or anything like that. I will point out that our appraised values have nothing to do with the amount of tax collected. The only thing our values do is try and accurately, equitably, and fairly distribute the total tax load that is needed to run county government. So, and it's done per value. So if I live in Clarion or I live in, you know, Oakland, then those prices should be different, and the tax load should be different. But our increases do not directly have an effect on how much tax dollars are going to be collected. They're just an indication of what the property is appraised at.
So, and one other question here. I know that, you know, we get the real estate market reports and things from the Realtors Association, and I look at them. I don't know if you guys do, but it really seems like the supply is kind of an issue right now. Do you think, is this something that all communities are struggling with right now, just not having enough housing and prices going up as a result? Because it does seem like anyone that I know that has sold a house in the last year has gotten way more than they could have a couple of years ago. I mean, is it just related to the interest rates? It's just such a good market to buy a house?
That's a very good question and a very good point. So those mortgage rates that I was showing, the 30-year historic lows, supply is low. Construction has been going down, so it's going back up a little bit. Like I said, it should help some. But this isn't just localized problem. You know, it's a statewide, national issue. Supply is an issue. And I don't know that we have the full answer as to why that is such a problem right now, but it has been for the last several years, so we can't blame it on the pandemic.
Right.
Even though we have nothing to do with the valuation that's set by your office, if we have constituents that inquire, we can interact with you to help bridge that gap between so you can educate the consumers as to how you arrived at their valuation.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you that we're more than happy to talk to people about how we arrived at our value or answer any questions that they have. Our staff should be extremely approachable, and we're ready to discuss it with them.
Commissioner Rippon?
I'm just amazed we don't have more new construction going on. I noticed it did take a jump, but with the supply of homes, it just keeps going down. I thought there'd be more home building, but
It's starting to. Hopefully that continues.
yeah. And you know, we're going to be adding new jobs, and
Yeah, with the distribution center coming on, and there's some other good construction going. So
but you know, I've always thought Topeka's a bargain for home buyers.
it is, and I think there was a report towards the end of last year talking about what a great market Topeka is, one of the hottest, because it's well priced. And, you know, our 5% increase, 6% increase in some areas, that's small compared to double-digit increases you'll find in other parts of the country.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There are 3 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions, or is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, today we have a voucher report totaling $1,878,489.21. Highlights of that would be under the Special Equipment Fund for Summit Truck Group totaling $317,740. That is for a new dump truck for Public Works. Under Information Technology, Optiv Security totaling $61,249.54. It's for annual firewall maintenance, a renewal of the Azure Cloud, and endpoint access control renewal. Under Special Public Works, we've got Shawnee Mission Ford for $41,876. That's for a new F-250 pickup. And under Sewer Districts, a loan payment for $21,035.67 to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. That's for the Sherwood Pumping Station improvements. I don't have any questions about any of this, and I would move for approval.
There's been a motion made.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, Department of Corrections number 1, consider approval of request to send a program coordinator from the Juvenile Detention Center to attend the 18th Annual International Conference of Positive Behavior Supports to be held virtually March 17th through the 19th at an estimated cost of $250 to include one agency membership with funding through the department budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is an annual conference that we have sent at least 1 or 2 people from the Juvenile Detention Center to attend. In the past, it has been an on-site or a actual conference to attend. This year, it's a virtual conference that we would like to send our program coordinator from the Juvenile Detention Center that we do fully embrace and have invested a lot of money into the PBS, or the Positive Behavior Support System, on looking at a different strategy and helping those who find themselves incarcerated at the Juvenile Detention Center. It's not so much the cost that we're coming before you, and it's not that we're going out of town this year, but with the purchasing resolution and things like that, this requires a membership, and that we have to have approval from the Board of County Commissioners. With this attending, it comes with the membership, and we wanted to get approval from the Board of Commissioners before we can go. So I stand for any questions you have, and even though it's a virtual conference, we will provide a summary, and I'll have somebody from the Juvenile Detention Center to send that, to provide that. And if there's any other specific questions, I do know Major Tim Phelps is here to answer any other questions you may have.
Any questions regarding the program or the membership?
None.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item C, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C98-2021 with CBS Integration for additional security monitoring at the Great Overland Station on a month-to-month basis at a cost of $65.97 a month, utilizing the department's operational budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Director, Parks and Recreation Department. So today we're asking permission to move over the monitoring service here at the Great Overland Station, the storage facility we have over here, and the small depot just outside this window, to the system that we're currently using. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions regarding this item?
This is just adding 2 buildings is basically what we're
It
doing to an
is,
addition,
yeah. And
to
we're-
an
and-
existing system.
It is, and we inherited a different service provider when we started. So we're switching over to the one that we use at all of our other facilities. And, yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Other questions?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item C2, consider authorization and execution of contract C99-2021 with Madison Leicester to instruct wellness, fitness classes, or workshops at $15 an hour with funding from the Park Services Division operating budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. Before you today is our typical contract agreement service with an individual to teach our wellness and fitness programs. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item D, Commission number 1, acknowledge that Commissioner Cook is appointing Joe Hoytel to the Community Action Board.
Mr. Hoytile is currently serving on the board, and as the chair this year, indicated that willingness to continue to serve, and I would nominate him for that, and so that'd be a motion to approve his appointment.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflects passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission on any item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Aaron Mahan, Shawnee County Emergency Management. Just a couple of items real quickly. This is Severe Weather Awareness Week, so we would like everybody to kind of be prepared for that as we do move into severe storm season. We will be covering different topics each day of the week. Today, we will talk about the planning side of it. As we've mentioned before, always try to have a plan before things happen. That way, when that severe weather or that emergency hits, then you're prepared for it. On Tuesday, we'll talk a little bit about tornadoes. As a side note, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. is the statewide tornado drill. So we would ask that if the weather's clear, we're going to be sounding the outdoor warning sirens. We would ask you to put your plan into place, take shelter, and speak with your family and friends about what their plans might be in case of a tornado. On Wednesday, we'll talk about lightning, and on Thursday, we'll talk about wind and hail, and Friday, we'll cover flooding. These are all threats that we do face in northeast Kansas, so we would ask that you have a plan for each of these, and we'll be pushing out some information, not just on email, but also our social media pages.
All right.
The other item real quickly, see if I can get this opened. This is the Emergency Operations Center. If you remember, back in September, you approved the Shawnee County Emergency Management Department to accept a grant from the Kansas Division of Emergency Management in the amount of just over $40,000. What we did with this grant was it allowed us to use some CARES Act money to update the EOC, some of the offices, to increase communications, some of the mitigation efforts in keeping people apart, to increase social distancing, and of course, be able to work remotely as needed. On October 1st, you did approve us to accept this grant. It is a no-match grant, so we did not have to match anything with it. However, there were several things that the emergency management staff did to help in the mitigation efforts and updating these offices. These upgrades included new office fixtures, some laptops, PCs, wall monitors, and tools to enhance situational awareness, so we can just kind of keep an eye on what's going on out there as well. And then, of course, we also were able to update the carpeting and the paint and just generally renew the area and make it a little bit cleaner, more organized, and easier to work from. One of the offices we looked at was the Operations Section Chief's office, or as you know, Nelson Castile. This office was for years the original Shawnee County Sheriff's Office Emergency Dispatch Center from the time that the Emergency Operations Center in the courthouse opened. It was later converted to the 911 Emergency Dispatch Backup Center, so there were tables, computers, things like that in case CECC or the Emergency 911 Center had to move out of the Law Enforcement Center. They could then relocate to the Emergency Operations Center and be able to operate from there. In the late 90s or the early 2000s, it was then converted to office space and assigned to the operations section of the Emergency Operations Center. And the area had not really been remodeled or updated since approximately the mid-1980s, so things were extremely outdated down there and was really in need of an update. These are a couple of pictures real quick. On the left-hand side, you'll see where the one of the original Sheriff's Office dispatch consoles was. And we kind of had a few points of reference to show that this was down in that operations office. And there on the right is just kind of a picture from the doorway showing the entry to the operations office. In the next photo, this is after we had moved everything out and kind of stripped all the carpeting out, removed computers, screens, everything in order to, like I said, kind of remodel, move things around, clean things up a little bit. And this, of course, is in the process of being updated. This is another progression picture after we got some of the computers put back in, the carpeting, new carpeting installed. That was given to us by the Shawnee County Facilities Department. A lot of this work was done by the EOC staff in the evenings and on the weekends in order to more effectively make use of that money that was given us. This is what it looks like now with the new office fixtures, computer monitors, situational awareness monitors, and the new office fixtures. It's much more habitable, if you will. It's a lot cleaner, it's more organized, and of course there's a ton more storage space, so when we do start moving files, radios, computers back in there, that we will have areas for them to put those things in. Another view showing the large conference table in the middle, which will allow us to keep distance from one another during staff meetings, or if we need to bring people in to help our situational awareness. Another view of the office is there. We keep a lot of the City News 4 channel up so we can be abreast of what's going on in the city. And of course, Twitter, TweetDeck, so we can keep abreast of everything, not just locally, but also nationwide. This is a front office that used to be administrative storage. It was kind of what we call the Bermuda Triangle. If we go in there, we would hope you would be able to find your way out again because of everything we had stored in there. But we stripped that office, moved everything to another area, and reorganized it, and pulled the old carpeting up that had been damaged during a water leak in the first part of last year. This is after we got some of the electrical done, we got the new carpeting down, baseboards, some of the painting had been updated as well in order to make it a little bit cleaner and easier to work from. And then of course, after the new office fixtures arrived, along with the computer monitors and television screens, so we can once again enhance our situational awareness. We can use these offices in case anybody else were to be assigned to the EOC that needs to work there in person, that cannot work remotely. And it's much more, like I said, it's much more accessible, and we can once again enhance that social distancing. Some more of the view now that the office fixtures have been installed, and this office is ready for occupation once again if we were to have more people that were assigned to the Emergency Operations Center. So in conclusion, we would like to thank, of course, the county commissioners for approving us to receive this grant and allowing us to purchase many of the things that we did. The State of Kansas Division of Emergency Management for offering us this grant. We did stay within budget, close. We actually overspent by 9 cents, so we did absorb that cost. We also like to thank Shawnee County Audit Finance for helping us administer this grant, kind of keep us in line with numbers, a lot of the purchase orders, and then of course the Facilities Department for a lot of the carpet that was given to us in order to update those spaces, and of course the Shawnee County Information Technology Department for helping us make sure that our computers are operational, whether those be clean lines or outside lines, in order to make all of our computers work. And of course, once again, I'd like to thank the emergency management team for all of their hard work, whether it be the painting, putting down carpet, moving things, arranging things, and then of course discussions on how to make things more effective and safe down there. I would stand for any questions.
It looks great. I think it looks like a really great use of the funds and a really good improvement. I'm glad that you guys were all able to come together and work on that together. I would note that I'm sure that Blaze will have the headline read, "Emergency Management Overspends Budget," you know, in renovations. And then in the third paragraph, it'll say by 9 cents. So,
We were close. We were close.
any other questions?
No, it looks nice.
I think you said it all.
That's great.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right. Any other administrative communications? Commissioner Rippon, anything today?
I really don't have anything to report.
Commissioner Mays?
Nope, nothing from me.
Nor do I. There is, Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
Just about got ahead of myself, but there is a need for an executive session today. This will be on 3 items. The first will be to discuss employer-employer negotiations, whether or not in consultation with a representative or representatives for the public body or agency, specifically to regards to the FOP, and that will be for a period of 15 minutes. The second is to discuss employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the public body or agency, specifically with regard to the AFSCME, for a period of 15 minutes. And then finally, consultation with legal counsel regarding the position of the health director and contract with the Department of Corrections, Horizon. This will be for a period of 15 minutes. Total of 45 minutes. Is there a second? Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Show that we are going into executive session. Madam Clerk, for your benefit, give us 3 minutes so we start at 9:40.
Okay.
for you.
We are back from executive session. No action was taken. We are adjourned.
So I went to the